everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am going to share with you today my next design team project for Country Craft Creations. I made this folio featuring the paper collection called Baby Dreams Boy, designed exclusively by and for Country Craft Creations. So CCC is the only place you can get this paper collection, and it is, I'm sure you've seen it out there, but it is to die for. It was super fun to work with. All the good things. I mean, it's just fantastic. So I made this 6x8 folio. You can see it's a little bit chunky. The spine is going to be 2 inches. There's 2 spines, obviously. So I used the awesome paper. I actually used, it's kind of difficult to tell, but I used the new Artisan cardstock color. I believe it's called light gray, that Tammy has available in the shop, and it just worked beautifully with this paper collection. But you could use white, you could use the linen, which is like the cream color if you want. I don't know. I think I would steer away from that. I would definitely use the light gray. You can use the darker gray. You can use, there's a really pretty baby blue Artisan cardstock, and you can also use the navy blue color, or denim blue, I believe it's called, of Artisan cardstock. I recommend Artisan cardstock, hands down. It's the best cardstock out there, but you can use whatever you'd like. So let me show you real quickly what we have, and I hope the lighting's okay here. So I started off with, this is actually, I just cut this out of one of the pieces of pattern paper, and put it on a piece of yellow cardstock so that it would, I think you can tell that that's polka dotted, so that it would pop off. I added a couple of, these are Nouveau drops, just to add a little bit of something. And I used some flowers that I had in my stash. Well, these dark blue, you can see those. I can't tell if you can tell that's glitter paper. These have got to be 10 years old, if they're not a little bit older. And then just some, paper flowers that I had in my stash there. And then I will come down this way. Whoop, trying to get it close enough so that you can see. I actually have a stand right here. So again, a paper rose. Again, some more of those cream color cherry blossoms I just hit with some light blue ink. Some more of that pretty dark blue glitter paper. And then this is some of the seam binding that you can get with the paper to match the paper collection. Isn't it just so pretty? It's such a pretty, it looks a little more greenish blue on my screen, but it's definitely a nice light boy blue color. So anyway, so as you can see, and then I just took this and I popped it up on pop dots or foam dots, and put it on some chipboard to give it some weight. And it just becomes my closure. Inside here, there's actually some magnets here, here and down here. And then in here, this front flap, I left it blank so that you can put a nice big photo, maybe the baby's very first photo after they're born. And there's some magnets here. I think I did 3 magnets. You don't necessarily do that. I'm known for a little bit of overkill. You don't necessarily have to do it. 2 would help it stay closed just fine. But look at the paper with the clouds and the moon with the hanging star. Isn't it just happy? It's just so happy. And then over here, again, the moon, not the moon, stars. And I was really upset. I cut off that butterfly, half of it. I didn't mean to, but it is what it is. And then on the inside pocket, or inside left flap, I thought there was a yellow one in there. There is, but it fell down. Good gravy. Oh, there it is. So I have a yellow tag. Again, it's that gorgeous raised dot paper and the beautiful yellow that matches the collection. Here is that gorgeous denim-y blue color. So I just made 2 pockets over here on the left-hand side. And actually, let's just take this out. So, oh, I did not put them in there. So what this is kind of like a gatefold folio. So you have on the left side here, look at the little raccoon. He's sleeping. He's so sweet. So I just made a little pocket page where you can add some tags inside there with some photos and some journaling. So that's the first one on the left-hand side, and that's the back. Look at those little baby animals are sound asleep. And then here's the first on the right-hand side. Isn't it just gorgeous? And then there's that butterfly, the little raccoon again, and it says good night. Now look at that. How gorgeous is that? It is just so pretty. It really doesn't even need anything. I mean, the paper is just so pretty. And I'm sorry, obnoxious alert. I'm going to be obnoxious on this one. So, yeah. And again, you can just put your tags in there and your journaling. There's the back side. Just so pretty. And then the next flap on the right-hand side. Again, just beautiful with the baby fox. Just so pretty. And then the baby deer. And then the baby deer in his little nightcap. And then there's this one with the pretty orange. I forget what are those called, those butterflies. Monarch? Is that a monarch butterfly? And then the moon. And then the little tiny fleur-de-lis in that gorgeous blue. Here's some of that darker gray color that you can, there is a cardstock pack that coordinates with the paper collection that you can get from Country Craft Creations. Then there's the back of that sheet. Again, so these pages I believe are 5 by 7. Sorry for the noise. Yep, they're actually the back is 5.5 by 7, but the front is 5 by 7. You can get a really good size photo on there. You can do a 4 by 6 and then do some journaling underneath. There's so many different things you can do. And then also with the last hinge, I decided to put a couple little flaps or tags. Let's call them tags. Again, with the little deer getting some Z's. And then I just put I just put a solid cardstock on the reverse for some journaling or another photo. So that's the left side. This one's the right-hand side. There's some gorgeous, I had this dark blue in my stash. There's that beautiful butterfly on the right with some gray cardstock. And then there's the sleeping fox with, again, that same dark blue that I had. So in the center portion, we have, it's a 1, 2, 3. It's a 4-page waterfall, not so large, but I mean it gets the job done. So you have a magnet closure. You can, of course, use seam binding, but just look how pretty. It's just so pretty. And I left the backs plain. You can get a good look at that gray cardstock. Wow, this looks really light blue on my screen, but it is definitely a nice dark rich blue. The sleepy fox with the moon and some stars. And then I just did a solid color there. Here's another good look at the that gray color cardstock when I put it next to the blue. Gives you an idea. So then I also put a pocket down here so that when this is closed, you can put photos here. When the waterfall is closed, you could actually add a couple more tags inside there. And then I just close up the flaps like this, right to left. Takes a minute to get used to how to do this. Right to left, right to left. Yep, and then that closes and it's all nice and contained. So there's a view from the top. So yeah, so that is my baby boy folio or Dream Big Little One folio, the boy version. So you know if there's a boy version, you know there's gotta be a girl version. So yes, so let's do the tutorial. We'll put together the book and construct all the pages, and then I will come back and well, the cutting guide with the photos will actually give you all the dimensions for the page construction and the matting the pages. So let's go ahead and build the book first, and then I'll walk you through matting the pages. So all right, so we're going to get started with wrapping our covers, and I know there are a million tutorials out there to show you how to wrap your covers, but this is the way that I do it. A lot of the other designers at Country Craft Creations do it, but you can do whatever works best for you. So what you're going to need is, again, because this is a folio, you're going to want 2 pieces of a medium weight chipboard that are 6 by 8. Then for your spine, you're going to want 2 pieces, again, of your medium weight chipboard that are 2 inches by 8 inches. And then for that front flap, ready to go. So for that front flap that comes over from the right, or you could put it in from the left, however you would like to do it, you're going to want another piece of the chipboard that's 3 by 8. Okay, so as you can see, I already have a couple of them wrapped because it's going to be repetitive. I have the 1 2 by 8 spine and the 3 by 8 flap because it's the same. And I've also wrapped very nice and cleanly one of the 6 by 8 covers. Okay, so we'll set those aside, and then we will get started on the other 6 by 8 cover. So this is totally your choice, however you like to do this. When I'm wrapping covers, I like to, and when I have it, I like to use the 8.5 by 11 Scor tape sheets. They just make your life so much easier, and as you can see, I kind of had to piece this one together because this stuff is like gold. So just remove the backer. And, oh, I should probably tell you, so your wrap piece of cardstock is, you want to cut it to give it at least 1 inch on, an additional inch on each side from the size of your cover. So since our cover is 6 by 8, you're going to want to actually cut 2 pieces of your base cardstock, 2 at 8 by 10. Okay, and the way we wrap these, I don't know if you can actually see that. We'll put that one there. If you can get these online at Country Craft Creations. These are the, I forget, what are we calling these? The spacers. You get 2 of them that are 1 inch by 12 inch, and then you get another one for your spines that are 1.5 by 12 inches. And actually, Linda Doe, who's one of the scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, she made these vinyl, what are these? The little letters to decorate our spacers. So I just thought they were super cute, and it has my name and a squirrel and some hearts. And then this one has, a little flourishy thing. And then this one says, "I love crafting." So super adorable. So you can actually trim down 2 pieces of scrap chipboard, one that's 12, or 2 of them at 1 inch by 12 inches. And this just makes lining up, it makes it so much easier to actually wrap your covers. So you just set them there, one across the top, one across the side, and boop, lay your chipboard right in there. And you've got an even inch all around. Isn't it just fantastic? I love it. Every single time I do it. So, yeah, so you're just going to want to make sure you get a good burnish on there. And, oh, I neglected to say, the paper that I'm using for my base cardstock, I don't know, can you see the shimmer in that? This is the Artisan cardstock. It is the, I believe it's called Pearl. I'm not sure if it's Pearl Shimmer, but it is a shimmery cardstock that's pearled. It's like pearlescent. I don't know how else to describe it to you. So anyway, so you're going to lay your chipboard in with 1 inch overhang all the way around. Now you can use glue to tack that down. Like I said, I just like to use these Scor tape sheets. And then what you're going to do, you can actually take, oh, I lost mine. You can take your bone folder or your stylus and score along the outside. But I don't even bother. I just take this, use my desk, fold it over, and then burnish. Okay, and then I go to the other side, fold it over and burnish. So I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. And this paper is just incredible. It's like silky smooth, and it actually reminds me of a communion wafer at church. It has that texture. I don't know, at least the church that I go to. So anyway, so we've got basically essentially just scored it on all sides. And then I'm going to go back and score it back the other way. This just helps train the paper. Not that this paper needs it, but just gives you a nice fold. Oops, wrong way. And one more. Okay, and then what you want to do. So I always put an arrow there, or most times I put an arrow there to remind myself which end is up, because I have put them on upside down in the past. Hopefully that's all in the past. Okay, so then what we're going to do is on this score mark, so to speak, we're just going to cut up right to the edge of the chipboard. Come over to the other side. Do the same. Then we're going to come over here and just angle it. Now you don't have to do this. I don't know, I think it's more of a habit for me than anything else. You can actually cut it straight across if you want, and you know, remove that little square. But I always angle it because I think when I learned how to do this, that's the way I've done it, and I'm kind of set in my ways. So we will cut that, angle that. And then what you want to do, you just want to make sure you can fold it back. Just make sure you don't have any overhang, you know, like maybe you cut crooked or something like that, which mine seems to be okay. All right, and then you can use your Scor tape, or you can use art glitter glue. Art glitter glue works just fine here. And you don't really need a lot. One thing I noticed with this paper, it needs an extra second to catch. So I just take my bone folder, help it. Okay, and then do the same on the other short side. Fold that over. Oops, I got a little too much. It's always nice to have a little wet wipe or a paper towel handy for when you squeeze the glue out by mistake. Okay. All right, and we're going to leave it like that for now. We will come back. We will come back to this one in a minute. So let's grab one of our spine pieces. So you're going to do the same. Do this twice on each of your 6x8 chipboards. So for your spines, again, you're going to want 2 pieces of your chipboard that are 2x8. So the spine is a little bit different. If you recall, on the chipboard we left a 1-inch border around the edges of our chipboard, but on this one we're going to want to leave 1.5 inch on one side, and I will show you that. So your paper here for your spines, your cardstock should be 4.5 by 10. Hope you can see that. I feel like I'm out of camera. So 4.5 by 10. If you have your spacers, you want to take your larger, this is the, I'll show you this. This is an 1.5 inches. So you want to put that one along the left-hand side, and then take one of your 1 inchers and put it across the top. And then you can either add your wet glue, your Scor tape, or your Scor tape sheet. And then just do the same thing. Just find the top, lay it in there. Comes out straight, usually every time. All right, so then what we're gonna do, so just give it a good burnish. Make sure you get a good stick on there. I'm gonna do the same thing. Fold it over and burnish. Again, this is giving us our crease, our score or our fold line. And again, as I said earlier, you can use your stylus or your bone folder and trace around the outside, and it'll actually do the same thing for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold the paper back on itself. And you'll get a feel for it. You'll see why, because it's just not quite as stiff because you broke down the fiber. So you can see you get a pretty good fold line. So let's do the same thing. Let's get rid of this little triangle here, this rectangle. We're going to cut up along those score lines or fold lines. Miter your corner. Come over here. That's a little longer. It feels awkward because it's longer than the first one. Okay. Come down to the next one. I really hacked that one. Alright. So you can kind of see what you got there. Okay. So again, oops, I'm just going to fold this over to make sure I can't see. The sides look pretty clean. There's no overhang. Oh, but there's a little bit, see that little bit of overhang right there? So I'm just going to take my scissors and just snip away that little bit of that overhang. Okay, and then take my glue. I always put a little bead of glue right up along the chipboard. Don't know why, I just have always done it. Okay, let's do the same down here. Okay, and then you're going to fold that over. A little bit of squirt. Okay. Get the glue off my hands. Alright, so there you have. We have the first cover. Oh, and this was the first cover. You can take, so you're going to do 2 covers, 2 6x8s. On one of them, you can wrap all 4 sides, totally wrap it, as I did here. Okay, on the other, you want to leave your 2 side flaps unglued for now. Okay, so then we have the 2 covers, and then we have the 2 spines that are 2x8. Okay, and then we have the 3x8 flap. You can, the right hand side, well, I guess it doesn't matter. It's however you put it together, but mine's on my right hand side, so this is going to be the side that comes around to the front. Oh, I have a mark on my paper, darn it. It comes around to the front and the magnet will hold it closed. Okay, so you can go ahead and do all that. I am going to go ahead and move on to putting the page, or putting the chipboard pieces together, building my cover. So first of all, I took the one that I have already wrapped, okay? And then you're gonna need one of your spine pieces, okay? So the way that we do this is we actually take one of your spine pieces. So this side is 1.5 inches by 8 inches, because my book is 8 inches tall. So this flap is 1.5 inches, this flap is 1 inch. So I'm gonna turn it this way. I'm gonna put it in my scoreboard. To give it some stability, okay? And then this is kind of a different way, what we're actually calling the newer way to wrap chipboard. We're gonna actually, instead of wrapping it around the outside, which you can absolutely do if you want to, if that makes you more comfortable, you can put your adhesive here and then wrap it like this, because you're gonna cover that most likely with pattern paper anyway. You can do it that way, by all means. It's your project, you do what you want. But I am going to, let me scoot this down a little bit. I am going to put my adhesive on this side, and when you press down like that, it actually, you know you're doing it right. Tammy taught me this. You know you're doing it right when this side pops up. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. So let's see. I'm going to use my 3/8 inch Scor tape on this. Again, you can use wet glue, but just for purposes of the video, I'm just trying to save a little bit of time so your video here is not 4 hours long. So I'm just going to add my Scor tape, and I will trim off that side over there. Just make sure I get some good coverage. Okay. And get yourself a pokey tool or whatever you like to use. I've used a craft knife. And a pokey tool does great in removing these paper backings. Okay, so I'm just gonna, got a little overhang, so I'm just gonna fold that in on itself. Keep it nice and clean. Right. So I guess it really doesn't matter whether this is face up or not, because you don't have, unless you're using directional paper, which, you know, feel free to do. So what you want to do is just make sure you can get as close as you can to this fold, the edge of the chipboard, but you don't want to cover it because it just won't look right. So you're just going to want to, like I said, line that up as straight as you can. So see how that pops? Okay, so when you fold it over, you get that beautiful, nope. Oh no. Oh no. Hold your breath. See, even everybody makes a mistake. Whew. Saved it. Whew. I didn't have it lined up. Okay, let's try that again. Let's rewind. I'm not going to edit that out because I want everybody to see that this crap happens with everybody. So, okay, line it up again. See, now it's more even. Whew. And then just take your bone folder, give it a nice burnish so you get a good stick. And then one other thing I like to do, just so it kind of cleans it up, take a blunt end of your bone folder. If you have one of these pointy ones like this one, yeah, no, this is really pointy. It actually hurts. That will go right through the cardstock. So you're going to want to take if you have a Teflon one, most of them are some sort of plastic or Teflon these days anyway, but just go ahead and that actually will give you a nice clean finish. So you see how it's just so lovely. I love it. So anyway, so this is going to be the cover from the top, the left side. This is my left spine. Okay, so we're kind of building backwards. All right, so actually you can, so now we're cover, spine, the cover, the spine. We're going to want to add another cover. So let's go ahead and add the glue here again. close this up. And take your bone folder and give that a good, kind of finish that off. You can do the same. You can cover this one. I don't know why I said you should wait, but you can go ahead and do that. Let's fold that over. Give you a nice clean. So make sure that you get this all, because you don't want anything to stick to pull up. And that just kind of cleans the edges. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take, so you have your cover and your spine. I'm just going to turn this upside down and add some more Scor tape to my flap, the second flap. As I throw things across the room. Make sure my edges are clean. So we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so here is my fold. I'll try to keep this lined up with the bottom. Try not to go over the fold. Line everything up on the top. And push it down. So see how it's popping up? So again, so I'm going to make sure it's all got a good stick. And then grab the blunt end of your bone folder. Give it a nice finish. Okay, and that's exactly how you would do if you wanted to do just a normal, there we go. If you wanted to do just an everyday book, just a normal front cover, back cover, spine. So you could stop there, but we're not gonna. So we're gonna go ahead. Okay, line it up for the next one. Oh, I already did that. Look at me. So this is your second 2x8 spine. So we are going to line it up. So I've added some Scor tape. I'll probably put some wet glue on that one. And then we're going to add it up from this side, add it on from this side. You see how it moves? Okay. Actually, I'm going to add some more Scor tape because I'm always nervous since the spine takes a lot of abuse. Probably do overkill, but better safe than sorry, right? Okay. So let's remove the backers. So we're going to line this up in our scoreboard. I like to do that because, it doesn't move on me, but you saw I made a mistake anyway. So I'm going to, there we go, that's what I'm talking about. Put that in there, and let's turn it over. Give it a good burnish. From the inside, from the outside. then we're going to just line that up one more time. Oh, I knew I did this one upside down. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, so you can actually take on your 3x8 and put your glue on. You can wrap all four sides, sorry. You want a nice finished edge. So see what I mean? See how that just popped right back up? It just didn't get, I let it go before it caught. Okay. Did I cut that right? That seems really small. Yep, 3x8. Okay. So you want to check your edges, make sure you don't have any little scragglers hanging over, and I do. Just be very careful not to cut. Okay, kind of finish it off. All right, so line that back up. Let's add your score tape to your remaining flap. And then take off the backer, or go ahead and add your wet glue. All right, let me see if I could get that mark off of there. I'm not sure if that's a pen mark. Yeah, I think that's a pen mark. Dang it. That's okay. Cover it up somehow. All right, so then I want to come in here. Again, try not to go over the fold. That side pops up. And make sure you burnish. Okay. So let's go on this side. Line them all up. Alright, so, ooh, as you can see, I didn't think I would do it. So what's going to happen here, it's not going to hold right now because I don't have the magnets in, but it's going to fold up like that. See, it's going to fold up like that, and that is going to be the outside of your book. So let's go ahead and put the magnets in. If you don't want to use magnets, you can absolutely use seam binding. Maybe I'll use seam binding on this one since I used magnets on the other. What do you think? Or you could even put it together this way. That might be a good idea. Yeah, let's put it together that way. How fun. Okay, so you can actually get some coordinating seam binding. I know Tammy has the little packets in the store. So there's this beautiful green, this really pretty goldish brown, a little darker than tan, excuse me, and the beautiful pink. Now I'm torn, I don't know which color to use. Let's go pink. When in doubt, go pink, right? So I think I'm going to get, if my thing is 12 inches, let's go about 24 inches-ish. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Yeah. Oh well, we'll make it work. So let's do 24 inches, and I'm going to cut it in half. I think you've all probably done this in the past. So then I just take a piece of Scor tape, put it in there, put it along the edge, I don't know, about 1 inch or so on each end. Okay, let's see, how do I want to do it? Do I want to wrap it from the back? Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap it from the back. So, and again, it's best to do this before you add your pattern paper, before you start decorating, because, well, I don't know. But that's going to flap. Dang it. We could wrap it this way. I think I'd had this all figured out before. You know what? Nope, we're going to do magnets. Scratch that. We will use the seam binding somewhere else. I'm going to do magnets. Alright, so I have, well, I threw away the packaging, but I think you all recognize these. These are the basic gray magnets, large magnets, I believe they are. So I'm going to just take out two, one positive, one negative. And these suckers are strong. One negative, one positive. And you all have seen me use these many, many times. And it's not just me, I think all the designers do. So what we're going to do, where is my pokey thingy? Oh. Good gravy. All right. So take off the paper backer. And again, you want to do this before you put any pattern paper on, so we could just hide everything. Let's see if that's good. Yep. Put that somewhere in the middle of your 3x8 flap. Do the same over here. Come up about a little more than an inch. Okay, so you want to make sure and line that up as best as you can. And take the paper backing off. And I only take the paper backing off of one of them at a time, because then I can make sure and have it lined up. What I like to do is make sure the top and bottom are lined up. And then just give that a good push. And when you open it, your magnets will stay shut. Will stay on each side. So I also like to use some Scor tape just to hold it in case that adhesive that's on the edge of the magnet should let loose. Yeah, it just always makes me a little bit nervous that it could happen. And then I don't know that I've ever made one where it has happened, but you know, I guess it's definitely possible. So I like to stand it up on my surface. Okay, you can see, oops, I squished it. It's a little bit wonky for now until we do the inside. Let's pick that up. And like I said, it's a little wonky until we put the actual paper to hide this, the guts of the book. All right, so that is how you construct your album. Okay, so now we're going to make our, what I'm calling our base pages. So you're going to want, basically I call these pocket pages or sleeve pages. One side is open for a big tag, and the other side, whichever you want, will get glued to your hinge or your binding. So you're going to want to make 6 of these if you want to make it just like I did. So you need 6 pieces of your base color cardstock, and I cut these at 5.5. This part 5.5 by 8, and then you also want, so that is this piece 5.5 by 8, and then this piece is 5 inches by 7 inches, And the reason that I did that is because I wanted to have an extra half of an inch overhang on my pocket so I could put a piece of colored cardstock here and have the pattern paper here. So we're going to, I made 5 of them already, so I won't torture you, but we'll make one together. So you want, again, take your piece that is 5.5 by 8, put it in your scoreboard with the 8-inch side on the top right, and then you're just going to take your bone folder or a stylus. I prefer the stylus. I think this is actually, it's a McGill. So anyway, put it in your scoreboard at 8 inches on the top right, and we're going to score 1/2 inch. Okay, then I always rotate it and score 1/2 inch again. So this is when my cutting guides say score at 1/2 inch on 2 long sides, that's what I mean. So you put the longer side up in the top right, score 1/2 inch, rotate it, score 1/2 inch again. Okay, and then we're going to take our score tape again, just doing it to speed up the video. You can use, and I do use, wet glue many times. So add your adhesive to your flap. Okay, it's always easier for me to add it first and then burnish, fold and burnish. Okay, so you can also, just to remove a little bit of a bulk when you fold the paper over, go ahead and miter those corners. Okay, I don't know why I'm using the scissors. Don't usually. So, okay, then let's remove your backer, or again, apply your wet glue. Then take your sheet of cardstock that's 5 by 7. Oh, nuts. I forgot to tell you, sorry. What we're going to want to do, because this one, again, is 5.5 by 8, and it has that extra 1/2 inch here. You don't want to take your, I'll do it on the side here, along your flap, come down about 1/2 inch and cut up to that score line. I am really messing up today, guys. And then just cut along that and remove that, because what I did, and you don't have to do this part, I just thought it kind of made it look cute. I use my 1/2 inch Crocodile corner chomper. I have the 1/2 inch and the 1/4 inch. I'm just going to go ahead and round that corner with the 1/2 inch. Okay, and then this one's going to be a little bit sticky. Then try to come down a 1/2 inch. Remove that little bit so you see what we did there. And this is going to stick. Wish me luck. Put it in your corner chomper. Just do the best you can. So, okay. I do apologize for that one. I can't believe I did that. And then to help you line everything up, I like to line up the bottom left corner first, for no reason other than that's just what I do. Put the page in. Okay, we lined it up on that side. Then we'll come over here, remove our paper backer, or add your wet glue, and close up your sleeve or your base page. So you see, both sides are open. Okay, so what you're going to want, I did a very poor job of trimming that one. Okay, so you're going to want three base pages that open this way, right? So these are going to be the 3 that are going to go on the left side of my book. and then these three. So basically the tag will pull out from or load in from the right, and over here they're going to load in from the left. So you're going to want 3 of them. Okay? So go ahead and do that 5 more times. Make those all your base pages. And then next, what we'll do is we're going to need 2 hinge systems. And, full disclosure, I am the absolute worst and hinge maker in the world. This type of hinge. Okay, I actually do single hinges that I learned a long time ago from someone, and I prefer to do it. I'm actually getting better, so you can see the whole hinge mechanism. It's actually getting better. But anyway, so to make your hinge, you're going to want to take whatever color is your base color cardstock, okay, and you're going to want to cut it down to 5.5 by however tall your pages are. And in this case, because our pages are 7 inches tall, you want to cut it to 5 by 7. Okay, put it in your scoreboard on with the 5-inch side in the top right, and score at 1/2 inch every 1/2 inch. So it's 1/2 1, 1.5 2, 2.5 3, 3.5 4, 4.5 5, and then you'll have that extra 1/2 inch. Okay. So I'm so bad at this that I marked it and I still got it wrong. Okay, so what I did was I initially marked every one of these hinges, right? And marked them with an X. So each in between each hinge is a 1/2 inch gusset. So you can see it there. That's a 1/2 inch gusset, that's a 1/2, that's a 1/2. So there's 3 1/2 inch gussets, and there's 4 hinges or fins, whatever you want to call them, right? So you're going to want to take the first 1/2 inch hinges, glue them together. Okay? So we're not going to have any overhang flap. These are just going to be flush. Okay? Then you have your 1/2 inch hinge. And then ignore these 2 pieces of score tape because this is where I messed up. So then I turned it over and added, so you can see the 2 X's. That tells me that those 2 pieces need to be adhered together. So now I have 2 hinges or 2 fins. So we want to flip it over. Okay, and then we skip one. Wait, let me see, make sure. So we have hinge, gusset, hinge, gusset. So these next 2, and I will burnish these after we're finished. So now we have 3 hinges, 2 gussets. Okay, and then the last 2 get glued together. Okay, that wasn't as painful as I thought it was going to be. So now you have your 4 hinges, or 4 flaps, or 4 fins, whatever you want to call them. And then you can turn it over and then apply score tape to each one, the back side of the gussets. So this is the side that's going to adhere to your spine. Okay, but what I want to do is go in and burnish these like crazy so that you break down those paper fibers so that it folds nicely. And I'm going to turn it and go back the other way. Okay. So I hope you get the idea. Right, so, and then what you want to do, to make it easier to slide your base pages on, I just always take the hinge and miter the corner. Let's give it a little haircut. So you see what I did? I just cut it on an angle. And I'm going to do the same over on the other side. Excuse me. Okay. So let me set that down so you can see kind of how that happened. Okay, so we have two, one for the right spine, one for the left spine. Okay, so then what we're going to do, just because it's fun, so you're like, you say, Anne-Marie, but we only have 6 base pages and we have 8 fins, or 8 hinges. Yeah, so we are going to actually take the very last, let me see if I can find mine. Yes, the very last on the inside, I will show you. On the inside of your book, so you see those are the pages we just made. So we did 3 of those and then 3 from the other side. But that very last inside hinge, inside meaning towards the center of the book, we're going to actually cut that in half. I don't know if you can see kind of how I did that there. And we're just going to add some little tags. So that's fun. All right, and it's super easy to do. Let me grab my, if you have it, by all means you can use it. I have the Crocodile Corner Chomper that has the scallop and the stub. The stub, I believe, is the like the carnival ticket. The scallop, to me, looks like a little baby's butt. So let me show you. So just choose, doesn't matter. Oh, sorry, I should probably tell you. So your tags would be, let me see, what is the size of your tags? You're going to want 4 of them. 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I cut 4. And I'm going to actually trim 2 of these at a time. Using the scallop edge. So you see what I mean? It looks like a little baby's butt. Oh, I told you I was childish. Okay, so scallop, and I only do it on 2 of the corners. You could do all 4, but it gets a little awkward. All right, so then what we're going to do is take our hinge. Try and decide if I want to do this before I put it into the book. Let's add it to the, well, no. Okay, so our hinge is 7 inches long. So we're going to want to mark, you can use your mat, or you can use a ruler. Find 3 1/2 inches. Here's my pen. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3 1/2. It's crooked. 3 1/2 inches is right there, and of course I have Scor tape on it, so it won't mark. 3 1/2. Cut straight down, just up to this first Scor mark. Don't go beyond that Scor mark. Just get as close as you can. And then I'm just going to go ahead and angle those on either side. So, see how that happened? Right? And let's do the same. Whichever side, it doesn't matter. Let's lay it down. So that one will go that way. 1, 2, 3 1/2. Just give it a V cut. You don't have to really get all that fancy. And then what you can do is add your little tag. But I'm going to wait until we put this into the book before I add the tag. Okay? So, let's bring our book over And I went ahead and I added, I covered up the two spines. I'm not going to cover up these little areas of the chipboard with the base colored cardstock because, but then I put down the base colored cardstock and then the pattern paper, and it's kind of a waste of your artisan cardstock. And so anyway, so your book is 8 inches tall and this is 7 inches. So basically you're just going to want to, you know, with your Scor tape, again, you can use wet glue, you can use a combination of both. So you're going to want to center this, your hinge, vertically and horizontally, okay? So you can take your, if you have this Tim Holtz ruler, this ideology ruler, whatever, it's 1.5 inches. You can actually line it up. So you're going to want to do 1/2 inch, right? Because this is 8 inches and this is only 7 inches tall. So you can put a little tick mark. I'm going to try it with a pen. You know, if I was smart, I would stop this video and go downstairs and get my pencil. But I can't believe I don't have 2 pencils up here. Okay, so let's measure, let me think about this. So it has to be 1/2 inch, right? Yes, 1/2 inch up from the bottom. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. I'm just using the measurements on the ruler. 1/2 inch from the bottom. I'm just going to put a little mark right there. You can see that? To show me how far up from the bottom I need to place this. And this always makes me nervous, like my stomach's turning. I always feel like I'm going to screw it up. Okay. So I have to stand for this. Whoops, look. Make sure that you have your split hinge is on the facing the inside, so you want it facing towards the right. And then I'm just going to line that up, cover that up. Oh, I got it. Okay. Wait. Okay. All right, so then place that down just as straight as you can. Oh, it makes me so nervous. Okay. I'm committed now. Nothing I can do. All right. So these are the hinges for our left side. And just want to burnish the heck out of it to make sure that your hinges will flap, or your flaps will turn. Make sure you got good. Oh, that's actually pretty straight. I don't want to get too confident because I got to do it again. So let's see what happens over here. Let's try that again. All right, we're going to measure up 1/2 inch. Oops. Just do a little mark. So this is the right side. So I have my split hinge facing towards the center. Okay. Oh, that's going to give me a problem. Do you see see what I did there? I have a bit of overhang. So I'm going to try to cut that without ruining my... Oh, I was really off on my fold there. That'll just cause a lot of interference. So I just want to get that off of there. Like it never happened. And I'm not going to tell if you don't tell. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of that. All right, here we go. Let's try that again. Oh. What happened? Come on. There we go. All right. So I'm going to try lining up, centering vertically and horizontally. Okay. Whew. Praying that's straight. So you see how I have a little bit of resistance right there? I must not have folded that very well or scored it. Folded very well along the score line. But the paper will do what you train it to do. So there we go. Yay, that was fun. Okay. Whew. All right, so. All right, what we can do now is, while we're here, let's take our our 4 tags and add them to these 2 flaps. So I'm going to actually add I'll use glue because you all probably using glue as well. I'm going to just put some glue on that tab. Okay. And line it up without going over that fold mark. If it helps you to stand it up. And then there you go. That's flap number 1, or tag number 1. Tag number 2, coming right up. And I apologize if you all can hear my goofy neighbor cutting his lawn. always right when I hit the record button, it's like he knows. Okay. Oh. Well, that made a mess. Okay, let's get that up. Okay. All right. So we'll come over to this side. And as you can see, because the scallop faces that towards the right, I'm working on the left-hand side of the book, by the way. It faces towards the right. I'm going to have the scallop on this side face towards the left. Okay, so I'm going to put my pin back in my glue. Since when I made a mistake and put score tape down already, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to turn mine around so I can line it up with that score tape. Okay. Let's do the same. Hope you can see that. Down here. Line that one up. Okay, so there you have your first flappy jiggers. All right, so let's take 3 of our base pages, okay, and we're going to add them to these fins. What I like to do, I think you just saw me do that, is I like to turn it, put them on this way. I don't know, I just feel like I have more control. But you can just put it on whatever works for you. So essentially all we're going to do is add some glue, and we're going to line up each one of these pages, and we're going to add them to the hinge. Like that. Okay? But of course they're going to be straight. So I'm going to use wet glue for this. I just like to use wet glue on the hinge because it gives me a little bit of wiggle time. So I'm going to add a little bit more here. You don't need a whole lot because it's going to actually spread out. So I like to just take it, make sure you don't go over the folded edge, like right next to the fold, but not over it. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And then just give it a good burnish. Line that up as best as you can. So, oh, see, so I had some glue spill out. That's gonna, if you don't catch that, that's gonna cause an issue. It'll make your pages stick. So do your best to grab that when you see it. Okay. Let's do it again. That's why I try not to get too close to the fold with the glue in case it oozes. Oh, one thing I didn't say was you want to make sure your longer side, so you have that extra ½ inch, is pointing in the opposite direction. So if you're working on the left, it's pointing towards the right. Come on. What's going on here? Okay. There we go. I feel like it's getting stuck. Okay. Did I not? Well, it would help if I glued the other side. Good Lord. Okay. Couldn't figure out why it wasn't sticking. All right. Okay, and one more. These baby books are so fun. I have made, no lie, I've probably made 100 baby books for different customers and over the years, and they're always so fun. Okay, so you want to be careful here because this is your first flap. You want to make sure that you line that up. Don't want to go over because you don't want your first hinge to get caught in this little bit of this extra ½ inch that you have here, because it could actually tear your paper, and you don't want that to happen. So let's go back and make sure we burnish on all sides, or both sides of each page. Grab our little flappies. And you don't have to be concerned about this because, you know, you could see this. We're going to cover that with pattern paper, so you won't actually see the guts of that. Okay, so there you'll have your first 3 pocket pages. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. I, again, am going to turn this like this, just to make it easy for myself, easier for myself. And then we have our 3 other pages. I don't know. Oh, I wish you guys could see that pearlescence. Oh, because my light... Oh, see how it's like pearly? This is just so beautiful. And it's so smooth. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, again, because this one was a mistake, I have Scor tape on this side, which it's destined to cause an issue for me. So I'm going to do wet glue over here. Add some more wet glue. I'm going to do this because it might give me some wiggle room time. We'll see. Wish me luck. Alright, so we're lining that up. Okay. Oh, dang it. Got some glue on my fingers. Make sure you get a good stick. Okay. And these feel a little bit stiff for now, but as they work back and forth, they will definitely loosen up. All right. Let's do the next one. If anybody has any suggestions any other suggestions about what's the easiest way to add these to the hinges? I'm all ears. It's stuck on something. All right. Glue that side down. Scooch it over. Get that side. Right. Last one. Hope you're all still with me. Can't wait to see what everybody makes with these baby papers. So I was saying I've made quite a few baby albums with so many different baby papers. Right, we probably all have. But this paper, Tammy's, I tell you, she did such a great job designing the paper. It's just incredible. All right, so those are our base pages, essentially. So I like to start on the right-hand side. I don't know why. I know no other reason other than I am right-handed. So I fold those flaps down. Then the right flap left, right, left, right, left. And then you bring it up and it closes. So those are the base pages. So what we have to do next, I mean, you don't have to, but I assume you want to if you're watching this. We'll make these two pocket pages over here. And then we will also do the waterfall pages in the waterfall pocket. All right, I'm just going to close it up. See how that kind of just comes together? All right, so, well, this is a really sturdy book, too. Good job. I can't wait to see all your guys' books. I love that you post them on Scrapbookers, and I get emails and people send me pictures through Messenger. I just love to see it. I love to see what you make. And your take on a design, a design of mine and other designers as well. So let's put these away. All right, so let's start with the pockets since those are the easiest. So I'm calling these the left side flap pocket. And so you want 2 pieces of your pattern paper. The bottom pocket, I always start at the bottom. You want to cut that to 4 by 7. And then what we're going to do is score this at a 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So you have your 7-inch, your long side, as in the top right. So your long measurement, so your 7-inch measurement comes across the top. You're going to score it at a 1/2 inch, rotate it, score a 1/2 inch, and score a 1/2 inch. Makes sense? 1/2 inch on 3 sides. All right, and I put score tape on here, but again, you guys have all seen me use wet glue. It just is what it is. Some days, I don't know, it just depends on my mood, I suppose. But usually when I'm doing pocket pages, I will use wet glue because sometimes score tape, when you put a tag in, because my understanding is the score tape adhesive never technically dries, so yeah, the tag sometimes can get caught in it, but I mean, we'll go for it this time. All right, so then you want to bring your book over. God, I'm on the struggle bus today. It was going so well. All right, so then what you want to do is just take your bottom left corner. You could be a right corner girl or guy, whatever works for you. I like to line up my bottom left and the left side of my book, and then I bring it over to the right side. Okay, and then I just like to be careful that, I don't know if you can see that. Nope. So when you fold it over, your pocket is not within that little trench right there. So Yeah, so that you don't have any interference. Oops. I say as I have interference. So you don't want the pocket to interfere with closing your book, which it doesn't. Okay, so that's the bottom pocket. And the top pocket, the measurement on this one is 3.5 by 7. Okay, so we're going to put that in your scoreboard with the 7-inch along the top. You score it a 1/2 inch, rotate it, and then score a 1/2 inch. So you're going to score this at a 1/2 inch on 2 sides, on the 2 long sides. Okay. Right. So you have a choice here. So you can fold and burnish along your score lines. You can set this pocket right on top of the other. I actually like to set it down a little bit inside of that pocket. So what I tend to do, and again, this is just an eyeball. I'm just kind of eyeballing, cutting it off at an angle. Okay, and then what I'll end up doing is scooching that little angled part down inside the pocket below it. Do you see that? So that's kind of what I did. And then there won't be any adhesive on this part. And then what I'm going to do is cut off that extra little flap. See that? I'm just going to angle there, angle it at the top, or miter it at the top. So you'll have something that looks like that, like a baby diaper. And then you'll put adhesive on the tabs, and then you have that will slide really nicely down inside that pocket. So you can line it up and you won't have any interference at all. So, but we're only going to put, I'm going to actually use glue for this one. We're only going to put the glue on this tab. And I try not to get the glue too close to that edge, because I don't want it to squirt out inside the pocket, if that makes sense to you. Because I can glue my pocket shut. Ask me how I knew. Done that a couple 100 times. All right, so then I just line up the left edge so it doesn't hang over the edge of the book, and it will naturally fall into place on the right. Unless you pull it out like that, like I just did. Holy moly moly. Okay. Trying to be fancy and I'm making a mess. So give that a good burnish. And then what I want to do, I need a piece of scrap paper. I just grab a piece of scrap paper and just make sure I don't have any interference down here or here, which I don't. And I'm not concerned about seeing the chipboard because I'm going to actually put a piece of pattern paper inside there, and that will cover that. No worries. Okay. Make sure that my edges are, everything seems to be gluing down really well. Nothing showing over the edge. You can see there, it's nice and clean. Okay, and then when we go to close it all up, the book closes nicely. Okay. All right, so now we are going to move on. Wow, we're actually getting done pretty quick here. We're going to move on to the waterfall. You've all seen me do 100 waterfalls. One thing that I just thought of, I probably am going to want to put my pattern paper here. Oh. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to use some solid cardstock. I'm going to do exactly what I said don't do. And I will update the cutting guide. I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of my solid cardstock. Because this is 6 inches wide, I'm going to do 5 7/8 by 7 7/8. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Okay, I really meant it. That was 2 seconds. Okay, so I did a 5 7/8 by 7 7/8. That will fit in there very nicely. And I'm just going to take a few pieces of Scor tape and go around the perimeter. I mean, this won't get too much. Well, actually, it could take some abuse with the Waterfall. And I'm just going to put one straight down the middle. Give it a good burnish. And remove it. See? It's like I planned it. Alright, so I'm just going to line this up. Let me stand up here. Let's line this up. Okay, fits very nicely, nice and clean. Make sure we don't have any interference. Sorry you had to see that. All right, so let's set the book aside for now, and we're going to want to get our Waterfall pages ready. And for that, we need, these are all my pieces. I was able to fit 4 Waterfall flaps. Let's see, I cut these down to 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. So you're going to actually have, you'll have a 1/2 inch flap. Let me show you in this one. We'll have a 1/2 inch flap that will adhere to the book, which will leave you with 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, which would be perfect for a 4 by 6 photo. So yeah, so you'll have a nice 1/8 of an inch border all around your photo. So you can decide, well, you can't do it that way because this is going to have to be a vertical. If you wanted a horizontal waterfall, meaning this way, you could still leave this at 4 3/4, but the width you'll have to change to fit inside the book because your book page is, the book base, sorry, is only 6 inches wide, so you could cut this down to 5 3/4 and it would still fit in there nicely. But I'm going to stick with my vertical one. Oh, and what's also nice about this size is there's a lot of paper collections have 4 by 6 cut aparts, so they will fit perfectly on this as well as would a 4 by 6 photo, obviously. Okay, so you're going to want to cut 4 of those at 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. Okay, on the short side or the 4 3/4 inch side, you're going to want to score each one at a 1/2 of an inch. Okay. All right, and then you're going to want to fold along that score line, burnish it really well, add your Scor tape. Now this one, you don't have to miter the corners of this because there won't be any, won't be adding any tags in, so there won't be any type of interference. But if you prefer to, you know, miter the corners, they'll get covered with whatever cardstock you want to put on anyway. So it's up to you. I just feel like it's just a waste, and I don't think you need to. All right. Another way you can do this if you want is you can cut yourself a waterfall base, and you can add your waterfall pages or tags or flaps, whatever you want to call them, to the base and then adhere the base into the book. I'm just going to go for it here. I'm going to turn the book around. So this is the left side of my book that's coming towards me, okay? We have the joint right there in between the spine and the back cover. So I'm going to try to keep it lined up. Oh, this is going to be a disaster. I feel it coming. So anyway, so take your first, what in the world? Your first waterfall page. Remove your backer, or you can add wet glue. Then I'm going to come along here and I'm going to line it up as best I can without going over that piece of that solid cardstock that I just put there. You recall? So I don't know if you can see, where is it, down here? You can see that's the edge of the cardstock I added. So I'm trying to keep that along the edge so it doesn't go over and it doesn't cause any interference when the book is open or when the book is closed. Okay, I hope that makes sense. This gets a little hard to do when you have all this put together. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. Say a little prayer, hold your breath, line them up, and hope for the best. Okay. So I basically just push that folded edge right up to the edge of the prior one. And then try to keep that straight. Oops, I can't even see it. Okay, you know what, I'm going to actually take a piece of pattern paper. Let me get a piece of color paper so that you can actually see what I'm doing. For no reason other than this is the closest piece. So you can see how I lined it up there. All right. So then we'll take this piece, the next one, line it up again with the one right before it. So you can see it's all nice and, I don't know, do you guys do that? Do you put a piece of solid cardstock, or when you're trying to match up, like, because you have, obviously this is that pearl color, this is the pearl color, I kind of get lost. Like, I don't know where everything is. So I just usually put a piece of pattern paper or something there so I can actually see, make sure everything's lining up. Maybe it's just me. All right, and then the last one, we're going to do the same. This is where it usually goes bad for me because I get so overconfident that I did the first couple correctly, and I usually screw up the last one. But I think you guys are my lucky charm. It looks like it worked. Okay. So here we have our first page. We don't have any interference. It didn't go above the top of the book, which is awesome. Okay. Just sit back down. So there we go. That's our 4 pages of our waterfall. I always enjoy doing 6 pages of my waterfalls, but I didn't think about that before. I planned the size of the book first, but again, just super fun. Okay, so at this point you can use seam binding as your closure if you wanted to. Where is that piece that I had? So you could take those 2 pieces that I cut originally, if you remember earlier, you could adhere them here, and then you could add this one. Actually, let's just do that. Could add this one right about here. Again, you're going to put pattern paper or some sort of, or a cut apart or something there. So it will cover that up. And then let's see. What is it? Trying to line them up. Okay, then just stick it to the inside of your book. And then you can go ahead, and I don't ever trim these until after I put the pattern paper in. So I like to leave it loose like that, except this one I'm going to trim this edge. Don't need that much. All right. So yeah. So hopefully that doesn't interfere. But then we have that page folds in. Then the right, then the left, then the right, then the left, and then that comes over. And that is your book. Your book made. So pretty awesome. I love it. So I am going to, oh no, we forgot one thing. How dare we do that? If you want to put this here, you don't have to, but I also added a little pocket. You'll see that your cutting guide has directions and dimensions for actually a magnet closure, but you see I used the seam binding. You're kind of going to do it the same way. This is 4 inches by 1.5 inches, and I would, because I used the scallop punch earlier, scallop punch those 2 edges there. Put a magnet under here, add a magnet here, and then there's the Scor tape, and then you would just put this in the same place where you have the seam binding, and then you could use a magnetic closure. But I will go ahead and I will edit the cutting guide to actually say either ribbon closure or magnet. Okay, so I put a little pocket down here. Now you don't have to do that, but I did. Let me show you that in the boy version. So this pocket, it's real tiny. It's about 1.5 inches tall. Now if you wanted to, you could just do these photo mats that would actually hold your waterfall pages closed, so you wouldn't have to use seam binding or ribbon or a magnet. But I find that just kind of makes it gets wonky. So I like to use a closure. But anyway, so you don't have to add that pocket. I'm just going to go ahead and add it just because I've already made it. So let me set that aside. So this measures, I believe it's 2 inches by 7 3/4. Yep, by 7 3/4. So then you're gonna, on the 7 3/4 inch side or the long side, right? We're gonna score 1/2 inch on 3 of the sides, so 2 of the short sides and 1 long side. Let's fold on the Scor lines and burnish, just like we would any other little pocket. Oops. Let's open that up. Remove your backer. I'm actually going to take my glue. Oh, I forgot to put my, oops, it didn't clog. I forgot to put my pin in my glue. You know, that's a disaster. Okay, just gonna let that grab. always get these, see that little point? I guess I'm just trying to go too fast, and I don't know. So I'm going to add glue to this because it's going to pull up. All right. Oh wait, that's too, well dang it. That is definitely too long. Why did I do 7 3/4? No, that probably should have been 6 3/4. Ugh. All right, see, everything happens for a reason. Oh. Okay, so 6 3/4. So if this is 6 inches, that needs to be 7 inches. Good gravy. All right. We're just going to we're going to hack this off at 7 inches. Right? Yes. Nobody tell Tammy, she's going to fire me. Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay, so now, right, so that's 7. Don't do as I do. Follow the directions. Which, oh, by the way, I need to switch. So that should be, see if this works. Score it in half. Okay. Well, good thing there's Scor tape on there because I don't know where that came from. Yep. Okay. Rewind. All right, so now I really need to do glue. So it's still 2 inches by, I would make it just shy of 6 inches. Please close. Okay. Whew. All right, so then you have this little pocket down here where you can add a couple of tags. Okay, so I apologize for that. I'm just apologizing for everything today. Okay, right, left, right, left, right, left. All right, and that is your book done.